Hey guys, I wanted to continue on this, I guess, mini-series of heroes that are really good in low ranks, and this is actually around gold level, so I wanted to show this, but it was kind of a funny day. So my friend, she's been playing a lot of Storm League, and she's got her account up to Platinum now, and she's saying that she's seeing Smurfs in like all of her games. And so I said, all right, I'll hop on my Smurf so we can kind of go Smurf versus Smurf. And I ended up going against one of my friends playing a Smurf, and it's kind of a funny game actually to see because we both ended up in the solo lane against each other, and I don't think he realized who I was. So I think he played a little bit more carelessly than he should have, but it was just kind of funny. Anyways, I think I used Imperius last time, and I want to use Malthael this time. Malthael, in my opinion, is actually one of the heroes that I recommend a lot for low ranks because he can do wave clear, he can do camp clear, and he's not too bad in team fights. If he's not focused and you're pretty decent with him, you can do a lot in team fights without people really doing anything to you. So I wanted to show this game a little bit, and I wanted to explain how to play him in a matchup like against Sonya. So the way this matchup works with Sonya is you want to be fighting, you want every fight to happen in their waves, and you want to avoid fights that are happening in your waves. Because you heal off of all the minions that are around here, and she heals off of all the minions that are around here. So every fight that happens in their waves, you are going to win. Every fight that happens in your waves, they're going to win. If she lands a spear, you're pretty much done, and if she doesn't land a spear, you can pretty much, I mean, she's pretty much done. Your power spike against her is level 4. I like to hide in bushes and try to gank a few times, because if you hide in bushes, then she won't know if you're hiding in a bush or you're doing a camp. So you see, I hid in the bush 3 or 4 times, and then she might not know if I'm actually doing a camp or not. I can quickly go for a camp. Now, her team's helping her out with that camp. My team, on the other hand, is not. I don't expect them to. Remember, I'm smurfing. I don't know what rank everyone is, if they're on main accounts or not. I'm just going to do whatever I can to help myself, help me win this lane, dominate, and try to get these other people out of my lane. So there's a Greymane and a Vala in my lane, and a Sonya, and there's a camp. So I'm doing what I can to try to just assist this. I do what I call the in and out play style, which is you go in when you have abilities, you go out when you don't have abilities. Or at least you go out when you don't need to be in. And you're going to see me do that a lot, especially on Malthael, because he's a very low health hero that if you can get in and out of the fights, in when you're not taking damage and out when you are taking damage, you're one of those heroes that you can effectively stay in a fight forever. And you're going to see that as this game goes on, how scary you can actually get. So I do end up, again, going in and out of these fights, and I clear up the camp first, and now look, they're not focusing on me, so I can actually just walk through their team and do a lot of damage. If they're not focusing on you, get in there. The second that they start focusing you, get out. You see how they're focusing me? I get out. Right? They're not focusing me anymore. I get in. Oh, they're all focusing me. I get out. Wait. They're focusing minions again. You kind of see the playstyle a little bit. Like, you can stay in, do a lot of damage, and then get out. And then at really low health, I don't like staying around because you can just get bursted. But you can also still poke people down a little bit. I don't know why. Oh, it was a blue globe, so they could get it. We couldn't. It's like, I don't know why I didn't get that globe, but it was a blue one. And then we go back up here. I, again, don't know why people were in my lane for so long. And I see that a couple people are showing up here. I don't want to deal with ranged heroes. So you're going to see I don't really like to deal with them that often. But we are able to take out that one. When I saw that the Lucio was showing up top, I kind of just walked away from the objective because I don't like dealing with ranged heroes as Malthael. He gets kited very easily. You can see my level 1 talent is Fear the Reaper, though. So I can catch up to people. But I primarily use this as either an escape or so that I can jump into the team and flank when they're not expecting it. So one of my favorite playstyles on Malthael is when the enemies, and I saw them rotating as well, that's why I didn't go for the objective. I just go for the minions here, and I just apply pressure. I tried to only keep my mark on one of the enemies so I can use die alone, but if you can get it on a couple people, it's better because it only increases your damage by 50%, while not having die alone hitting 2 heroes is increasing your damage by 100%. So it's just not on one, it's spread out a little bit. I'm low health, low mana. We've got people in every lane. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to back while we're doing this, and I can go work on getting something else later. But why I love Fear the Reaper is because you can kind of go into a flank right as the enemies use all their abilities on your tank. You go into the flank, you hit everyone, and you start melting them down. And so it's just a really cool way of dealing with it. Die Alone's really great for the solo lane, and Cold Hand is good for quite a few reasons. But I think that I mean, Touch of Death is amazing. If they have a lot of like single target healing and you need to kill someone, Touch of Death is amazing. Or if you're laning against someone who has a lot of healing, it's good. I just like Cold Hand against their team because if I can catch them, it's a great way to just melt them down. This is a pretty interesting fight right here. I think the Sonya got a little baited in here. Doesn't really have... Oh, ends up... Yeah, never mind. Sonya's getting a kill. So even if this goes 1-for-1, getting 1-for-1 when you're behind on levels is actually really valuable, because the further behind you are on levels, the more experience you get per kill. So that was pretty good for Sonya. Good trade. The only problem is that Sonya will be missing out on some soak here. I'm actually going to cost Sonya one more wave of experience. So overall, we end up with more experience than Sonya got, because I know the enemies are going to be distracted trying to stall out mid. So I'm like, you know what? While they're stalling out mid, I'm going to get some value here. And I will be showing you guys a little bit of this flanking style right here. I'm going to wait. And I was going to wait until they go in to stall it one more time, but then they walked in the bush and I kind of just had to deal with it. So right after I get slowed right there, I might even pop Fear the Reaper to get in. But if I don't need to pop Fear the Reaper, I save it to get out of fights. And you can see 2 quick kills, dealing a lot of damage, and I cost the enemies 2 waves of soak up at top lane. So we're level 10s before the enemies are, and I did misclick my ult. This is not a terrible ult if it was like a 40-second cooldown. But the fact that it's an 80-second cooldown makes it pretty bad. You normally want to go last rites because you can do a lot of AoE damage already, and you can already apply your mark AoE by just auto-attacking enemies. The only time that this might be good is if they have just a whole team of blinds. You'll never be able to get like anything off if you don't use it. But I like it for... I wouldn't have picked it this game. But if you do pick a bad ult, start changing your mentality and go, well, how can I use this ult? If this is a bad ult, how can I be using this ult? And you want to try to plan that out. So to kind of cover some of the things that I've already done in this game, I won the solo lane against Sonya. While I was winning the solo lane against Sonya, I also soloed a camp that I was able to get against the Sonya. I also flanked middle, and I got 2 kills middle, and then I came back up and I cost the enemies 2 waves of soak, went back down middle, and applied enough pressure that we were able to get a Dragon Knight. And then I came back up top, and I'm bullying the Sonya one more time. Now, the challenge is I can't ever kill the Sonya without last rites, and after level 10, once she gets Wrath of Berserker, she's going to absolutely destroy me. So I need to be cautious about that. Right here, I slow her, and that's where I realized that I had the wrong ult. I tried to use last rites on her, and I popped that. So I realized I had the wrong ult. And from that point on, I was like, oh. You know what I mean? Like, I just, like, had no idea. But yeah, so I go back to double soaking. My team is already going to be able to take mid, and I want to cost the enemies even more soak. If you have a couple experience lead, keep it going. See what you can do. Top lane is never really that valuable on this map, but getting all this extra soak is going to be very valuable for us. And if I can get a fort for free, or if I can even take out the fountain so that I don't need to worry about a fountain from this point on, is going to be pretty nice. But just know that Malthael's siege damage is really, really bad. So focus primarily on getting the minion waves and letting your minions do the majority of the soak. As you can see, that's kind of my plan here. My team does have a little bit of a weird fight in here, and that is not Tiger JK. It's just a guy named Tiger. He's on a NGS team, though. He's a pretty good player. Yeah, he's not on a Smurf. So right here, once she gets Wrath of Berserker, look at how much damage she does to me. I do not win a 1v1 against her anymore. It's just not something that I do. So I'm going to focus primarily on wave clear, camp clear, and team fights. I don't want to be taking a 1v1 against a Wrath of Berserker. She does way too much damage. And again, if she lands a spear, I'm done. So once again, I clear a lane. I go back into the camp. Pick up a camp, and again, we saw Sonya mid lane, so she's not even doing her own camp. Someone was doing it for her. And so I'm hitting another camp. I want to fight in the camp if I am going to fight, but I also need to worry. She did 60% of my health in like a second. Look at how much damage she does. It is insane. So you see this in and out playstyle. I go in, I hit her, I use a Q while I'm walking away, and then I use one more Q, I hit her, I walk away. So I try to keep it to where I'm not taking a lot of damage from her. But I am still fighting in the middle of her wave, so I can gain a lot more life. You don't need to ever use your Death Shroud. You can simply auto attack, but if you're trying to get things fast, it is something that I like to do to just speed things up a little bit. I could end up speeding up this siege a little bit, but I'm worried that she's going to show up. Sonya's going to show up. So I'm actually just going to focus on getting this, and she did show up, so if I would have been there, I would have died for sure. Actually, I probably could have popped Fear the Reaper and walked out, but still. But yeah, primarily I use this for an escape, but there are times when I'm flanking the enemy team where I'll use this just to get in, and it's a really powerful flank. So I immediately go to soak this lane. It's also going to force Sonya to come down here, and so Sonya's going to miss out on, I mean, there's a chance this is going to start doing damage here, but it's actually smart for Sonya to leave this because she'll keep the waves closer to her team. And this is not a keep we're ever going to be able to get. So it's better that she's matching me on the double soak. And again, I don't want to fight her into my waves. I want to fight her into her waves if I can. Fight her into her waves, dodge one spear. That's the only way you win. Right here, I'm going to go for a flank. And this is where, again, if you do have a bad ult, try to figure out where you could use it. And in this case, this is exactly my plan is, hey, you know what? Let's flank them. I'm going to pop my ult. I'm going to immediately get in the middle of them, and I'm just going to slow them all. And while my ult's going, I'm going to slow them. I'm going to jump around them so that they can't focus on me. And as I'm jumping around, I'm going to auto attack and get more value off. And look at how well we play out that fight. I slowed the whole team. We get in there. We get a couple kills. I still didn't use Fear the Reaper. I guess, honestly, do what I say, not what I do when it comes to Fear the Reaper. Sonya's going to immediately get it, so I don't even really worry. Head over. See if we can't deal with Sonya. She's out, and then we go back for another Dragon Knight. They're forcing a fight. I get in there. I use Fear the Reaper here to get close enough to where I can do damage to Sonya. We get some damage off on the Lucio as well. We're doing what we can to slow down this. And if you guys notice something, you can always get 2 soul rips off before your Reaper's Mark ends. So if you notice how I play out most fights is I auto attack someone, take a step back, and I use a Q. And then I stay in range for a Q. I use one more Q. And then I use a W auto attack Q to reset my Reaper's Mark because it refreshes the Reaper's Mark. And then I keep doing those Qs again, so I can stay in and out of fights a little bit longer. And I might even show you guys what I'm talking about in try mode really quick after this game, so you can kind of see that play style. This is the only siege that he's actually pretty good at, is when you can hit like a turret, a wall, and then also minions. That's where his siege is actually okay. But other than that, his siege is pretty bad. So don't ever like sit and auto attack structures that long on Malthael unless you're like 100% sure that's what you should be doing. I would primarily focus on double soaking with Malthael and joining teams for team fights. Once again, I can just pop my ult here and immediately just keep slowing people, doing damage, and doing whatever I can. I could use a W to refresh it, but I don't. Now we're just slowing Sonya, but she does so much healing in this build, it's insane. That burst, though, is not bad. And we end up finishing off the game right here. 12 minutes in, 4-level lead on the enemies. Pretty straightforward. That's how you play Malthael. Get camps. Focus on waves first. When you have the wave, you have time to get a camp in between the next wave. Get a wave, a camp, a wave, team fight, wave, camp, wave, team fight. And it's a very powerful hero in low ranks because your team tends to forget waves and camps, and he's still good at team fights because if they don't focus you, you can just last through everything. I mean, look, like it's like they just don't do any damage to me. I mean, they're mosh. They don't do any damage to me. But yeah, let me head back out, and I will need to log back in really quick because I want to show you guys just a couple things really quick on how I handle like 1v1s and how I handle team fights, because that's probably the biggest issues about Malthael. Everyone knows how to handle waves and camps, but the biggest thing is people can be more efficient on those, of course, and get them more often at the right times. But I do still want to share a little bit about how to handle the 1v1 and how to handle team fights. So let's I do need to log in. And let's hit the collection. Let's go Bruiser, Malthael. He was actually free week too, so. But I do still recommend him if you guys are in silver to platinum area. Let's hit 10s. Let's change the ally hero to, let's go to our Tannis. And Fear the Reaper. You can go on a Pale Horse on really large maps. You might need a double soak, but Fear the Reaper really helps out on team fights. Die Alone, Cold Hand, Last Rites. So when you're doing team or 1v1s, this is how you should handle 1v1s. Auto attack Q, walk away. Q, W. Of course, as I'm trying to show this. So auto attack Q, Q, and then W, auto attack Q, Q, and then you can walk back in, auto attack Q, Q, W, auto attack Q. Do you kind of see how like he gets no time to actually attack me because I'm constantly applying pressure? And then you can fight in waves because watch it how much healing I get in waves. Isn't that insane? And then you can just ult him as well. But that's essentially how you should be playing the 1v1s as Malthael, is in and out like that. How you should be handling team fights is pretty similar. You mount up and you wait, right? You kind of get in like a flanking position a little bit, and right as the enemy team uses a lot on your tank, you're going to go right in. You're going to hit things, and then you're going to bounce around team fights. So you might jump over here, and then you might kind of move over here and hit more people, and you just want to be jumping around in team fights so that the enemies don't really know where you are and they can't focus on you. Because if they don't focus on you, Malthael wipes entire teams, and so you want to be bouncing around the team fights a lot. The second that it starts getting a little bit awkward, you press Fear the Reaper and you walk away. And you can walk through minions, you can walk through mercs, you can walk through anything. Level 13 is actually when you get an extra tool for that too. You can pop Fear the Reaper and Inevitable End at the same time, and you essentially, this is your biggest out that you can ever do. Say the fight's just going in a little weird way, you're hopping around, you're jumping around, and then after they realize that they're focusing you, pop both of these, you're unstoppable, and you walk through them, and you increase your movement speed, you're out of any fight. And that's it. You literally pop both of those, you're out of a fight. You can hit a fountain, you can mount up, you can go back into a fight if you want to. But a lot of times what happens for me is I'll start off a fight and it'll be something like this, where I'm hitting, I'll jump over here, I'm hitting. And then I realize that we're getting like one person low enough, I'll pop an ult and then I'll just walk out of the fight. So not only have I brought everyone down to like half health, but I got one kill and I got out of the fight alive. And that's a lot of times how I plan out these different engages, is you can kind of just play it out like that. And it's just a really unique way to approach all of those team fights. So in and out playstyle, guys. Don't just walk in and stay in forever. You need to still be in the fight, out of the fight, in the fight, out of the fight, and jump around the fight so that people lose interest. If, for example, you're getting attacked by an auto attacker and then you jump across the team fight, that auto attacker is not going to follow you all the way over there. So now you get healed back up and you can go back in there and start hitting the auto attacker again. And it's just a cool way to bounce around fights. But watch out for his mana. He does burn out of mana really fast. Some heroes that work really well with him if you're in low ranks but teaming up with a friend. Ana, to give him nano boost, is really good. As well as people that get them low enough to where your last rites gets value. So people that do higher current health damage, like Tychus with Bigger They Are, or maybe Greymane with Bullet, because if Greymane does a bullet, you walk in, do even a little bit of damage, you can last rites. Same thing with Bigger They Are, you can do that. So those are some great heroes to team up with Malthael. And I did go Soul Siphon on the game that you watched previously, but Inevitable End is really good if you just need to get out of fights, and it's better in higher ranks. And then level 16 Soul Collector would be the rest of the build. So just to kind of give you guys an idea, if I was to give you a build for low ranks, for uber low ranks, on a Pale Horse on large maps or maps that you might need a global, Fear the Reaper, Q, Q, Last Rites, Q, Q, and then No One Can Stop Death. That is your low rank build that's going to just dominate. But if you start getting into high ranks, think about getting Touch of Death, think about getting Inevitable End, and those will allow you to have a little bit more situational abilities that are more valuable for your team. Anyways, feel free to throw extra tips of Malthael down in the chat, and thank you guys so much for watching. Feel free to check out any of my other videos.